So let's go to the other side of the strategy, and that's differentiation. Now the focus is on building something that people will be loyal to because it has a difference that is of value to them. Typically, there's a couple of ways to establish a differentiation advantage. One is prestige. You just like being associated with the brand. The other is a belief that the product is superior on dimensions that are important to you. And sometimes companies differentiate on the standpoint of service. Many differentiated companies try to do all three of these at the same time. For example, going to Tiffany's and buying a piece of jewelry, they try to make it prestigious. They try to tell you their rings are better, and then they provide excellent service. Well, we're going to go back to bicycles. And here you have a picture of a road bike that's called a camber. It actually is the type of road bike that I own, and it's made by a company called Specialized. So I'm going to try to do this little show you a website thing again. Hopefully I can do better at it this time than I did before. So this is Specialized. And what I'd like you to see is how, notice the old-timey photo, and they go back and say, oh, we were started in 1974. And notice this word line right here. I'm having a terrible time with this thing. It says, we are riders. That fact has guided our every decision since 1974. See how that's trying to establish in the mind of the reader that, hey, we're different, we're better. And in the interest of not making it painful, I won't try to wander other places on their website. But Specialized website does a great job of trying to build this point of we are a special bike that's built for the serious cyclist. These are more expensive bicycles, and where you see is they spend money in the research and development, and they spend a lot of money in developing the frame. Now, it's a little bit amazing to me, but they release updated models of these bikes almost every year where they're making slight tweaks to the design of the bike. You know, I didn't know that bicycle technology was advancing that fast, but they really do quite a bit of that. And so now let's go in the same thing and look in the value chain. This would be where we get into the value chain. What does a differentiation company try to do? Well, often they spend money in technology development. Sometimes they spend a lot of money in people because they're really trying to have high quality people. They put a lot of effort into the design, try to build a quality product. In the case of marketing and sales, you can't find a Specialized bike at a Target or a Home Depot, or not a Home Depot, but a Walmart or something like that. Most high-end bikes are only sold through bicycle shops. In this town, there are two, Endurance House and the Bike Shop, I think is the name of it. They're the ones who sell the higher-end bikes. And so they give you really good service. They fit the bike to you. They set it up for you. All the things that you don't get when you buy a Schwinn bike, you get, and that is a part of the differentiation. Likewise, a lot of this has to do with generating fit, knowing what you're going to do well and making sure that you do, in fact, do it well. So, when done properly, a differentiated strategy is also very strong when it comes to Porter's Five Forces, and it has to do with the fact that you've established customer loyalty. The customer prefers your product because they think it's different. Well, new entrants have a hard time pulling your customers away. Buyers are not as price sensitive because they are loyal to your product. Substitute products aren't as attractive. And when it comes to suppliers, they like being associated with you if you have a strong brand. And two, if they raise their prices a little bit, you can probably pass that price increase on along to the buyer because the higher margins give you more flexibility in how you handle things. What mistakes can a differentiator make? Well, it can differentiate on points that people don't care about. They can price it too high. They go like, yes, I like your product, but it's not worth that much. And then sometimes they come up with points of differentiation that are very easily and quickly matched, and they lose that point of differentiation. So again, just like cost leadership, it's not easy to do this well. When done well, it's a very strong position. Let's move along, and we're going to talk briefly about focus strategies. Even though it's focus strategies are 2 of the 5 boxes in the favorite graphic that describes the 5 generic strategies. Not going to talk too much about it because in part it's pretty clear. A lot of small business, in fact, are operating on a focus strategy, and that's because they're operating in a single geographic location. For example, down here in Houston, I had lunch today at a place called Two Peppers Chinese Food. Never heard of it before, but when we took the menu out, there were probably 10 stores in the Houston area. Maybe it's a big chain and I've just never heard of it. But it could also be just a family that has successfully grown their business, but they're focused on the Houston market. It can be by focusing on a specific demographic, young, old, particular ethnicity, and the like. We see that in Wichita Falls with several Hispanic-oriented grocery stores, for example. Now, it seems obvious that a company can thrive by serving and focusing on high-income customers. For years, that was Whole Foods' niche. The idea, and that was where the joke came, that Whole Foods equaled whole paycheck, because when you went there, you spent your whole paycheck. But it's also possible to also focus on low-income customers. You see down here the idea of a title loan company. A lot of the gold purchasers, pawn shops, these are all sometimes very successful businesses, and they focus on a lower income demographic. Sometimes you have a focus strategy because there's a unique product requirement that you just do particularly well, and you just do a few things well. For a while, our airplane has the airplane that I co-own has a very specific inspection that has to be done every 2 years. It requires some specialized test equipment. And for several years, we went to a guy that's all he did, is he ran those tests, and we would fly down to an airport in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and meet up with him there. That does point to one of the risks. He focused on that one thing, but you know what? A lot of other shops could do the same thing, and I just lost his phone number and didn't go to him. So you can begin to focus on a niche that collapses. It shrinks because nobody needs that thing anymore. You can focus in a niche and be very successful and have other people enter it. An example of that is what's happened to Whole Foods. Once they had really demonstrated that people were willing to pay for organic products, guess what happened? The mass market grocery stores entered that. Now you can find organic products at Walmart, which is the epitome of a cost leader grocery store. And so your niche, when it becomes so attractive, other people come in and they focus on your market too and try to take it away from you. And then there's also the temptation that sometimes when you're successful in a small market, you decide that you're just smarter than the average bear, and you expand, you if you will, you widen your focus, and in the process, you mess it all up. There's one more strategy to talk about, and that's the integrated cost leadership and differentiation strategy, and we'll save that one for the next video.